So I asked the team before we came on, how do they know? Number one, how do they specifically, just in like one sentence, how do they know, how do they know it's, how are they hearing God? And how do they know it's God? So real short, Victoria. And then Sean and Kat.
So for me, I think I hear the Lord more a feeling. For me, I'm a feeler, so I feel the Lord. So sometimes I don't know if you go in a store, you are so good, and then you go to Walmart and you kind of start to feel like weird inside. It's just like you want to go out. So for me, I hear the Lord. I can feel in my emotions. Sometimes I can even feel physics. Sometimes, like if I need comfort, I can feel a hug and I can feel the arms of the Lord around me, and there will be no one touching me. So, oh,
You're
sometimes
a
I
feeler.
can just feel this love, this overwhelmed love, and I know the Lord wants to talk to me about love. So I kind of have feelings, and sometimes come with like pictures too. So sometimes in my mind, like this love will come with like I can feel Jesus walking to me and just hugging me. So can or like I was gonna have a vision of like a beach, and I'll be sitting down on the beach and I will feel immediately peace in my
Hmm.
heart. So it's a feeling combined with like pictures in my mind, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yep. I think that other people, I just want to open you guys up to what it might be for you. And what does this have to do with business? Well, we're starting with training wheels. We have to start with training wheels, build a foundation of figuring out what are the nuances. Sean and Kat, quickly.
Yeah, it's usually like a coincidence that's not a coincidence. It starts with like a knowing, but then like I'll see something and I'm like, it's like a what I call a God wink. It's like that was just what I was thinking about. It's like a confirmation, but it changes. It can be hearing something, it could be smelling, tasting something, but just like divine coincidences.
Okay. Very cool. Peter. Thank you, Sean. Oh, Kat, did you want to go? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that for me, like one way is I hear God through my dreams at night. And
Yeah.
so for maybe a lot of people who aren't familiar with the hearing, seeing, whatever, every time you go to sleep at night, it's an opportunity to hear from the Lord. So I just want to throw that out there.
Thank you. Very important. Yeah. Peter, how about you?
Yeah, great question. For me, it's also believing that I can hear him and that I may not always get it right, but at the same time, I don't need to take it so seriously. Where it's like, oh God, like, did you tell me this random thing? And sometimes I'll hear, no, I didn't tell you that thing. But a lot of the times I'm like, oh yeah, I did. I did. And
Hmm.
so when I hear something, I write it down, I kind of check my heart. And then I realize it's all in God's hands anyway. So sometimes we try so hard to get it right because we're afraid to get it wrong that we actually just dismiss anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I kind of take it all, and it's an odd way, but it's an easy thing to shift and understand that um, it's really hard to get wrong because God will fix it if we think. I mean, He's really good about fixing things up. So hearing things, writing them down, and just not worrying about it too much.
Yeah. Even if you get it wrong, what are the,
Yeah.
I mean, what, just go for it, go after it. Uh, Peter, thanks, Shola. Yeah, Shola.
Hi, everyone. I echo all of the above that has already been said. I just want to highlight sort of two things. One is instinct. So sometimes you'll just do something and you don't know why you did it. You're just like, you just get this idea and you're already doing it before thinking, wait, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? So I want to encourage you that even as you've entered this 6 week season, be also mindful of you wake up and you just feel like you need to do something. You may not know why. You may not have heard anything or seen anything or had a dream, but you just have this gut feeling that you need to do something. I would encourage you to just pay attention to them Whether or not you act on it, make a note of it, and then you can go back and say, was that God, as Peter said. And then the second one is your imagination. Sometimes hearing from God feels like you're crazy. Sometimes you
Yes.
just be like, what on earth are you asking me to do? It could be a picture in your mind, it could be a thought that passes through your mind. But I want to tell you that like your imagination is not childish, your imagination is not crazy. At the end of the day, what do you have to lose if you try it out? And imagine on the other side everything you had to gain from it. Just, as Karen said, 1.2, 2.4, 3.8, everything to gain, nothing to lose, except maybe your pride. And really, quite frankly, I'd rather take $1 million over pride. So, yes.
Beautiful. Sam.
Yeah, I think a couple different ways for me. One, similar to what Peter mentioned earlier with regards to like thoughts that may seem random, like I would even add like seems random or like better or slightly different than like what I might normally think. And part of that's like taking that risk of like, oh yeah, I think that is the Lord, and looking back at it. Like um recently, if I can share, like I was in a parking lot leaving school and like just had this thought, like, what if this car at the end of the parking lot hits me? And then like I just kept driving and I was waiting to exit the lot and that car hit me. It very much felt like my own thought, but that was like the Lord. And that wasn't the first time something like that has happened with my car. Um, what else? Sometimes it's like a knowing of like a like impression of like I feel like this is what the Lord's saying or doing in this moment. And then last thing, I think the Lord speaks to us in ways that we understand, right? Just like if you're to talk to your friend or family or child, right? Like you're going to talk in a language they understand. And so the Lord's like that with us too, because he's a father, he's a good father. And so like I think a lot of analogies. And so like I'll get pictures from the Lord and then I'll be like, Lord, okay, what about that picture? What about that analogy? Like, are you trying to highlight or like speak to me about or through? So
That's great. That's great. Ethan, last one.
Yeah, so like several of the others, I'm a feeler. But something else that I have is inclination. So it's like a gut feeling a lot of times. Like it's like it almost is like, is that really God or is that me? And usually the way that I'm able to kind of distinguish which is pay attention to whenever you enter a new room, or pay attention when you enter a new building or a new atmosphere. Very similar to what Karen said, you're somewhere else and you feel great, but then you go to like a Walmart per se, and like all of a sudden you're hit with this like overwhelming sense of like, what's going on? And so that's why I primarily hear the voice of God.
That's great. And I really appreciate that, guys. That's just to give you an idea. And if you aren't really sensing, I want you to know that there's nothing just or feeling or whatever it might be. Just know that this is like the training wheels. When you first started speaking, you didn't know how to talk. You didn't know how to walk. You crawled. And this is a muscle that has perhaps atrophied in your life, that is maybe not, you haven't been exercising. Just taking that 15 minutes and doing those steps that Sam put in there is amazing. And that will start strengthening that muscle. Every week, we're going to be doing an activation like this.